something to say. Do you have something to say? Let Devil Radio guide you. Launch your own broadcast quality podcast. Utilize our studios and staff, our hosting platform, and we will even promote your podcast on Devil Radio. Monthly packages start at just $295. Devil Radio's podcast platform to launch immediately after the election. Call today to learn more. 608-819-TALK. Hey, Dom, is your carpeting starting to have a little bit of a funk to it?
That's a bit of a personal question, Crudy.
No, I know this is a really busy time for one of our sponsors, Zero Res of Madison. People want a cleaner, healthier home.
You mean spending the entire quarantine locked in with bacteria and allergens isn't healthy? Who knew?
You want to get it professionally cleaned well before it gets funky. Even if you vacuum frequently,
I vacuum a lot.
You still need to get it professionally cleaned. Schedule your carpet cleaning online at zeroresmadison.com. Tell them the Devil's Advocate sent you. If you believe we the people need an ongoing voice on the radio airwaves, there's never been a more important time to partner with us and support Devil Radio. Small businesses are suffering and our sponsors are already doing what they can. We need your help. This is your station. These are your airwaves, but they're not free. Please give if you're able at GoFundMe, Keep Resistance Radio in Wisconsin, or click the support the station tab at Devil Radio 927.
Hi, Greg. Can you hear me okay?
I pledge you will never hear Christmas music on Devil Radio.
Try Greg. Hey, Greg, give me a 5 count if you would, please.
Place for friends and family. Whether it's for lunch or dinner, you know you're in for a tasty treat.
Fantastic. And can you just pronounce your last name? We want to make sure we got it right.
Fish fry in Madison. And join us to cheer on the greeting.
Say that one more time, please.
Wings, your bucket specials, and free Jello
Gelembiuk, right?
Green Bay touchdown. Plenty of TVs inside or out on the patio.
And are you on the council right now?
1617.
No, I'm not on the council.
And online.
I served on city committee. So I served like on the MPD Policy and Procedure Review ad hoc.
For Devil Radio, 92.7 FM and WTTN 1580 AM. I'm Luke Mathers with your headlines for Friday, December 4th.
So deep insight, what's going on with the Civilian Oversight Board? We got 40 seconds.
Dollars in COVID-19 live music and entertainment.
So you have deep insight, what's going on with the Civilian Oversight Board, correct?
Yes,
They're a part of a plan unveiled in October.
All right, perfect.
But separate from the Oversight Board, there's the PFC and the chief hire. And that's, another matter, and that's precedent.
Housing are among leading challenges facing rural Wisconsin, according to a new report issued by an affiliate of the state's largest business group. The report comes as a commission created by Governor Tony Evers has been working to identify strategies to support rural communities in Wisconsin. The commission is expected to report its findings and plan to the governor by the end of the year. You're listening to Devil Radio, 92.7 FM and WTTN 1580 AM.
Day in the neighborhood, a beautiful day for a neighbor.
You know you don't f***ed up, right?
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Mr. Robinson's Neighborhood. I am Alan Robinson, Mr. Robinson to some of them. I say that specifically to folks who I'm checking or who I need to ensure address me with the proper respect. You're gonna put some respect on my name.
Good evening, Mr. Robinson.
Oh, I sure do appreciate you, Mr. Killer Lane. You know, I also believe that respect is a whole two-way street, you know? Looks like somebody's coming through the neighborhood. Who's at the door? Who do we got? To visit us in studio, we've got Greg Gelembiuk. Now, Greg serves on city committees, ladies and gentlemen. I was actually, now what's really funny, I was once nominated to be on the Civilian Oversight Board. And I think I wasn't picked because in this silly Madison.com article, I kind of referred to the mayor as being rudderless. But, you know, that's the kind of thing that doesn't get you picked by the mayor to sit on committees and things like that. Greg, what do you have going on?
Well, right now I'm serving on the body cam committee that's considering whether to implement body cams. And prior to that, I served on the MPD Policy and Procedure Review ad hoc committee.
So that sounds like a lot to do with the police.
It does. Like
Oh,
I basically, in 2012, my neighbor, Polly Heenan, was shot and killed. So
unfortunately, I
that's how I
remember
got
that.
involved.
You made me drop my yo-yo.
Okay.
I wasn't anticipating that, good sir. I was not aware of that. I'm sorry for your loss. So that was the impetus to you joining or getting further involved?
Correct. Yeah. Like I helped co-found a group called the Community Response Team.
Mhm.
You can find us on Facebook. So we're focused on police reform and public safety.
Mhm.
And then ultimately I was engaging with city government, ended up being appointed to these committees.
Sure. So, well, then I think it would be appropriate to talk to you about the search for a police chief that Madison is doing. Now, it looks like they've got 4 finalists. Sean F. Barnes from, I believe he's from Chicago. We've got Ramon Batista, the guy from Tucson, Arizona. Christopher Davis of Portland, Oregon. And we have Larry Socrato from Pittsburgh. These guys all come with, now there's no female finalists. And a couple of them are folks of color, but they come from some questionable places. So, I mean, what can you tell us about this process that's been going on?
I think there are aspects of the process that are very questionable. The committee that I served on that made all these recommendations for how Madison should deal with policing, one of our recommendations was, and it came originally from OAR Group, these consultants that reviewed the police department here. The recommendation was that when a police chief hire is done, that there should be community panels, that community members should be able to interview the finalists.
I did, and I do this show. It's turning into a podcast. I'm just taking some time to get acclimated with doing Mr. Robinson's Neighborhood, right? But I've done this show called Whiz Cannabis Radio, and on that, I interviewed a gentleman who had made it to some of the later stages of the MPD police chief search. His name was Commander Echevarria. Dope dude. He was very good people. He was like the number 2 in command down in Elgin, I believe is where he hailed from. Good guy. He was summarily dismissed because that's the kind of thing they do. But he actually had reached out to me after I sat in on a PFC on a deal and had some comments for what I thought we should look for in a police chief. So you're saying that my input at that committee meeting was ignored entirely?
No, I'm not quite saying that. Like your input may have been to some extent taken into account, but what hasn't happened and what was recommended is once they arrived at finalists, that the community should be able to interview those 4 finalists. And they just blew that off. In fact, they dumped the names on a Friday, which is typically what you want to do if you want to minimize, notice.
Oh yeah, baby. I know all about trying to put the bad news out low and late.
And yep, exactly. And then they'll be actually doing the final interviews on the 8th in closed session.
Closed,
not open. Then they'll release on the 9th, they'll release 35, at some point on the 9th, they'll release 35-minute clips from each interview, not the full interview. And then
they're going to edit it for TV?
Yep. And then the same day, giving people no time at 5:30 on that day, they'll begin deliberating and making their final choice. So it's very hard not to interpret this as an attempt to minimize community input.
Well, when are they going to accept the input from community members after those 35-minute edited clips are
people
released?
First get to see those clips sometime on the 9th. Could be in the afternoon, I don't know when. And then people will have a chance to provide input in the brief window of time between when those clips go up and the decision making, which starts at 5:30 that day.
It starts at 5:30 p.m. on the 9th.
Yep, they release the clips.
Wait a minute.
Sometime on the 9th, and then they start making the decision at 5:30 and between, and you have to, email them or potentially sign up to register and speak at the meeting before they start deliberating. So you've basically got, no time.
Who exactly is in charge of deciding the scheduling for these sorts of things? Who can the people, because the thing is, you see, because the people probably wouldn't like it none too much if they were given super short notice and then not given an opportunity to offer a little bit of input. So who might we contact?
Contact the PFC. You can write police chief search, all one word, at cityofmadison.com. You can also Google Madison Police and Fire Commission, and they provide mechanisms for input. You can register to speak in the meeting. One reason you might want to register, people might want to register, is because one of the officers they've chosen as a finalist is an old boy cop who's a killer cop. And we don't necessarily want that. In fact, I can say for sure.
Which one? You tell me which one. I bet you. Now hold on. Now I'm a pick. I'm a pick.
Chris Davis. Portland.
You know what? I was looking at that. Now, Christopher Davis, Deputy Police Chief of Portland, Oregon, was appointed to the Portland Police in 1998. Previously, he worked as a police officer for the Arizona State University Police Department. So what I know about Arizona State, they don't like the blacks down there. What I also know about Oregon is that Portland, Oregon, specifically, has been in the news for having had an incredibly racist police department. Now, I talked last night on last night's show about what the impact of policing, how negative it has been on the black community since since far before 1919. But in 1919, there was a race riot that negatively impacted black people to the extremes, right? And that was basically kicked off by a police officer refusing to follow the law and arrest murderers. Because the murderers were white and the victim was black. Now, we talked about that yesterday. That's definitely clearly old news. But the reason that I talked about it and the reason that we're talking about this is because the Dane County jail numbers cannot be overlooked. Today, Greg, there are a total of 506 people in the Dane County Jail. A staggering 281 of them are black. That is 55%, whereas white people account for 50% of the population. Now, the reason that I know that the lack of economic opportunity and the imposition of harassment and over policing is what's impacting this community, because I know two things. One, I know that, black people don't suffer from more criminality than white people or any other groups of people, because that's just not a thing. And B, I know that the next population demographic, which is slightly larger than the black population, at 6.3% of Dane County versus 5.6 for blacks, there's only 12 of them in the Dane County jail right now. And that is 2.3%. So if they're being policed like the same way that white folks are, That's where we're at. That's where we're at. And that's more along the lines of where we should be. And remember, this group of people, it's ironically enough, that's a group of people that received reparations for Japanese internment. That is a group of people that the federal government then went on a positive propaganda campaign to prop up and to uplift. So we know what the effects of bad leadership can do. And we know what it looks like when we accept and we continue to be acquiesced with broken social policy. Greg, thanks for coming by. Stick around. You're listening to Mr. Robinson's Neighborhood. We'll be right back.
Wash your hands, avoid sick people, and touching your face. There are everyday actions to help prevent the spread of respiratory diseases. Visit cdc.gov/COVID-19. Brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Hey, Greg, can you hear us still?
Local music supporters have surrounded the studio. Take a look.
What does the sign say? Greg, are you there still?
Local music. Double dipping is a right. I love the Jimmies.
What do they want?
I have my headset, but I'm gonna go into a set talking about cannabis and shit like that. And in a minute here, I'm gonna have Samba Baldah come on. So, I appreciate you coming through. It was good shit.
What they want, rocker.
So, Darcy Haber, I hear you have solar panels on your office building. Since when are real estate agents tree huggers?
Crew, you should know that at Solidarity Realty, we provide outstanding real estate service while adhering to our core progressive values. Environmental sustainability is a big part of that.
So you really walk your talk, huh?
Yep, I even walk to work.
Come on, always?
Well, sometimes I bike. And if I have an appointment across town, I use my Prius.
Darcy Haber, an honest broker. Check out solidarityrealty.com or call her at 358-6180.
When it comes to computers, Madison Computer Works has been the leader in computer help, service, and support for more than 35 years. Our friendly techs have the expertise to help you choose the right computer for your needs. We make it easy to get a new computer by moving your data, reinstalling programs, and setting up your printers and email for you. Our competitive pricing and awesome tech support make moving to a new computer painless and affordable. Whether servicing your old computer or buying a new one, we'll help you do it right. Madison Computer Works, computers that work for you.
Madison, tune in every weekday from 11 to 2 on Devil Radio, 92.7 FM and WTTN 1580 AM for the Tom Hartman program. Join the show's conversation because our democracy is not a spectator sport. Listen live right here on Devil Radio.
Stay informed with progressive news and talk on Devil Radio 92.7 FM and WTTN 1580 AM, McFarland's choice for essential radio.
All right. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. You are listening to Mr. Robinson's Neighborhood on Devil Radio. I'm Alan Robinson. And I'm super happy. Mad excited. Oh, wait. Oh, I'm tripping. I was actually going to talk about the Black History Moment, which I'm happy about too. I'm not even going to sit up here in front. The Black History Moment today is both good and bad. And it's not even going to end with the jail numbers because we already talked about that. But we are going to talk about something that is near and dear to my heart. That's Christmas, right? We've been talking about, I've been stuck on these holiday things for a while. When I was a kid, I used to listen to, around the house, we would have Black Santa Clauses. Now, here's the thing about Black Santa, right? So, like, if you have a little kid, let's say a little white kid sees a Black Santa in a store sitting next to a white Santa, right? And the kid then looks at mom or dad or whatever and says, hey, which one of these is the real Santa? Okay. Now, you might not be ready. As a parent, You might not be ready to stop lying to your children, but your child is then ready for you to stop lying to them. And so this is what you tell them. And it's real simple. We'll just give it to you 100. We made up Santa Claus. We made up Santa Claus because we love you and we want you to feel like there's magic in Christmas.
How old is this kid?
However old they are. See, because the time to do the right thing, you're going to have to pull, is going to happen. And your child will let you know, right? If you don't want your child asking you those kind of questions, don't take them down the Christmas aisle like that then. You know what I'm saying? But if they're going to ask, you should tell them, we made Santa Claus up. We wanted you to feel like there was some magic in Christmas. If it's a little white kid, you got to say to them, you just got to let them know. Black moms, black dads, they have little black babies. And they want their children to believe in Christmas magic too. Because Christmas magic is real, right? Christmas magic was real for Chris Kennedy. It sure was. Because you see, it was the time of year that he celebrated the memory of his father. And his father passed in 2004 after, I'm not sure of what. But Chris Kennedy remembered putting up Christmas decorations with his father as a child. And so as an adult, he wanted to put up Christmas decorations. Ever since 2004, he's been going ham, right? He's got this 4-year-old little girl now, and they've been putting up a black Santa outside the house for the past 3 years. This is down in Lakeview, a neighborhood called Lakeview in Little Rock, Arkansas. Now, this is a predominantly white neighborhood. And so Chris, being a black person, they've actually had, up until Veterans Day, they had a Black Lives Matter flag hanging outside their home because they've gotten more involved with since George Floyd's death. Now, he had this black Santa, 7-foot tall Santa, up in his yard. He received the following letter in his mailbox. Quote, please remove your Negro Santa Claus yard decorations. Santa Claus. Oh, I'm sorry. It was signed Santa Claus. It demanded, you should not try to deceive children into believing that I am a Negro. It was signed by Santa Claus. It says, I am a Caucasian white man to you and have been for the past 600 years. Your being jealous of my race is no excuse for your dishonesty. Besides that, you are making yourself the laughing stock of the neighborhood. Obviously, your values are not that of the Lakewood area, and maybe you should move to a neighborhood out east with the rest of your racist kind. Signed, Santa Claus. So, got a whole lot to say about that, right? But what I'm going to give you in this last little few minutes here is the bright side of that. He put that note on Facebook, and he was filled with rage, as he was righteously filled with rage, as you should be. And soon thereafter, his neighbors began to purchase and put up black Santa Clauses. Sure, the homeowners association came through and told them, you all are valued members of this community, But what really made the impact was the fact that lots of folks in the community then began to put up black Santas. Now, they put up so many of them that stores in the area started to run out. There are many things that are wrong with this country. There is nothing that is wrong with this country that cannot be fixed by what is right in this country. The first person to die in the revolution, in the fight for freedom in this country, was a black man, and he did so after defending a white family, a white child who was beaten unjustifiably by a redcoat, a British soldier. You don't believe me? Look up the story of Crispus Attucks. That's the thing. But just to let you know, Santa Claus ain't white. Because if he is, then I don't know where I got my Ninja Turtle blimp from when my mama and my step pops were riding all the way down to Rockford and Beloit to try to find me this thing when I was 10 years old. I don't know where Castle Grayskull came from. I don't know where all of my gear came from because there wasn't no white folks coming over to Fiedler Lane back then. And that's a fact. All right. I'm done ranting about that. Coming up on the other side of the break, entering the assembly, Samba Baldah is supposed to swing through. Super excited to talk to him. You're tuned in to Devil Radio. I'm Alan Robinson. This is Mr. Robinson's Neighborhood. Keep it locked. Trap House Mob.
I am once again asking you to listen to Devil Radio, 92.7 FM. I believe they have the moral fiber to create a progressive movement in Wisconsin and indeed in America.
Biden on jobs. I'm Tim McGuire with an AP News Minute. President-elect Joe Biden talks about job numbers from the Labor Department showing just 245,000 were added to the economy last month, the lowest since April and fifth straight month of declines.
It was grim. It shows an economy that's stalling.
Biden says a new
Good evening, Samba. Can you hear me okay?
bill is needed.
Yes, good evening.
Good evening to you. Can you give me a 5 count? I just want to get your level here real quick.
12 million Americans will lose their
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Mic test. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
You sound beautiful. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much, Alan.
Alan will bring you on in about 4 minutes here. A little less than 4 minutes, actually.
All right, sounds good. First ever Kid of the Year. Jitangeli Rowe, a sophomore, was selected out of 5,000 nominees by a finalist committee made up of children, Time for Kids reporters, and comedian Trevor Noah. I'm Tim McGuire.
Have you heard the news? Metamucil now makes a delicious fiber gummy. Made by the fiber brand you trust, these gummies are a delicious and convenient way to get more fiber. That's because Metamucil fiber gummies are made with an exclusive blend of prebiotic plant-based fibers that are expertly crafted into delicious gummies that give you 5 grams of fiber in each easy-to-take serving. Try new Metamucil gummies today.
Metamucil gummies are a delicious new way to promote your digestive health. Metamucil gummies are available at Walgreens and Walgreens.com. Try them today.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks. Looking for the perfect present? Then head to the perfect place. Stop by your neighborhood Ace and find the best gifts from brands like Steel, Eagle, and Milwaukee, or Traeger, Weber, and Yeti. And to help make sure your gifts are under your tree on time, you can shop in-store, online, or on the Ace app. Pick up in-store, curbside, or get them delivered. Get amazing deals on the best gifts when you wrap it in red at Ace at participating stores.
Are you a small business owner or professional that would like to be featured in your own weekly Ask the Expert radio segment or show on Devil Radio? Let us help you in your business team with our broadcast professionals to create the right show or segment, setting you apart as the go-to professional and as an expert in your field. All shows and sponsored segments are podcasted. It will be professional broadcast quality. Packages from $395. Call Devil Radio today at 608-819-TALK.
Hey, Rocker, I heard you have a rye whiskey.
I do, Jimmy. Rocker Rye Whiskey. The mash is a high rye with a touch of malted barley that makes it yummy.
And Rocker Rye Whiskey is dedicated to the Madison music scene?
It sure is, Jimmy. You can read the story on the back of the bottle at any of these fine locations. Star Liquor, Woodman's, Trixie's Liquor, Vic Pierce, Miller & Sons in Verona, Steve's Liquor, Total Wine, and enjoy Rocker Rye Whiskey at the Lazy Oaf Lounge and Sal's Dark Horse. Find out more at
For Devil Radio, 92.7 FM and WTTN 1580 AM, I'm Luke Mathers with your headlines for Friday, December 4th. Wisconsin Governor Tony Evers on Thursday asked federal officials to prioritize Wisconsin for COVID-19 vaccine distribution, citing concerns about high case numbers, strained hospitals, and a lack of statewide mitigation efforts. He sent a letter to President Donald Trump and the state's congressional delegation Thursday, saying that Wisconsin needs an additional $466 million for COVID-19 testing, contact tracing, hospitals, vaccine distribution, and public messaging for just the first quarter of 2021. Forecast of sunshine this morning with overcast rolling in this afternoon and a slight chance of precipitation overnight. High today of 41 degrees, low of 23 degrees. You're listening to Devil Radio, 92.7 FM and WTTN 1580 AM.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. This is Mr. Robinson's Neighborhood, and I am Alan Robinson. Hey, who's at the door? That looks like Samba. Hey.
Hey, Mr. Robinson. Yes, this is Samba at the door here. Open the door. Did you hear the bell ring?
I absolutely hear this. Assemblymen Baldah.
Yes.
How are you, good sir?
I'm doing pretty well, sir. Good to see you here and looking forward to a good conversation with you.
Yes, sir. Well, you know, I firstly want to congratulate you. My mother will be very upset if she hears me say firstly. First, sir, I would like to congratulate you on your election to the Assembly.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you so very much, Mr. Robinson.
Sir, you should call me Alan. Now,
okay. Thank you, Alan.
It is I who likes to use the lofty titles with my assembly and supervisor friends. Like, hey, because I dig your titles. I think.
All right, sounds good.
I think it's dope. Now,
very good. Thanks.
Here's a question, right? What are some of your legislative agenda items upcoming?
So obviously, you know, I campaign on a variety of issues, but I think the most pressing or the most important agenda item on my legislative agenda is healthcare. How do we expand Medicaid? Right now, we are dealing with COVID, and so we know the impact that has on people who generally do not have access to good healthcare coverage. But also not good access to food and you know, just things that keep people healthy. So my priority number one is to make sure that Medicaid is expanded. But right now, obviously, with the COVID that we are dealing with, priority number two is obviously how we get people back to work. How do we keep people stay in their homes? How do we make sure that there's no eviction because of the impact of COVID? So these are very high priority on my agenda. I want to make sure that business are able to recover as quickly as possible. Our frontline workers are provided with all the MPEs that they need to go to work and save all of our lives. So these are top priorities. Obviously, there are other very important priorities like criminal justice reform. We all know what happened in the state of Wisconsin, particularly to people of color. So it is important that we reform the criminal justice system so it is not only seen to be fair, but actually it's fair to everybody. So these are high priorities, obviously, building a strong economy. As like I said, COVID has a lot of impact. About 1 in every 6 businesses, small businesses, is not going to go back, open their doors anymore. And in many cases, people of color are the most impacted. So these are high priority for me as soon as I am sworn into the state assembly.
Well, you know, those are good and very lofty. I'm behind all of those, all of those things, right? There's a lofty agenda items for you to take on. Especially considering the fact that the opposition in the legislature seems to be crazy. Robin Voss doesn't want you to, first off, he doesn't want the assembly to work.
Absolutely.
They haven't met since April or May or something like that. So, and that was only to tell the to tell the governor to kick rocks.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess I'd love to hear your thoughts on the COVID package that he introduced.
So the COVID package, I think, like you stated, is a call to let's do nothing. If in fact let's make things worse. Their plan is much worse than what Donald Trump has been doing since January of this year. So I mean, it's just crazy. I think that is the best way to describe it. There's nothing in this package that really speaks to anything serious with regards to what they want to do. Think about it. What they are most interested in doing is, first of all, to cut salaries for people who, in fact, are supposed to make sure that we get out of this pandemic safe and healthy and things like that. But the Republican Party used to be a party of small business. But what are they doing now? They're saying the Joint Finance Committee will be the committee that is responsible for disbursement of these funds, the administration of these funds. Where is science? And where are our doctors? And where are our healthcare workers? Also finding schools to say, if you don't go back to school or government employees by end of January, we will not fund you. I mean, it's just crazy. There's nothing in this that is designed to help the American people who are suffering through this pandemic. So it's a joke, in my opinion. It limits also local government access, local health department access to really treating people and doing what they can do best to make sure that the pandemic does not spread in the community as it is doing right now. So it's a joke, in my opinion. And I wish, Republicans will understand that, look, this is not a joke. People are dying out of COVID. They should come to the table and have very serious conversation with the Democrats and understand that, yes, there may be time for politics, but right now it's time for us to keep our people safe. And that is our #1 responsibility as elected officials.
Well, Mark Pocan just recently did a young video with Robin Voss. I personally, I'm not gonna talk bad about Mark Pocan too much, right? Because like, Mark's a good dude. You know what I'm saying? Mark is a good dude. Congressman Pocan. Now, Assemblymen Elect Baldah, tell me, how do you plan to work with the R's? Because the Republicans are, it seems like they're somewhere stuck on stupid, whereas we seem to be more focused in reality and science and in facts, whereas they want to peddle alternative facts. So I'm just trying to figure out, how do you plan to work with these people, considering the gap is more like a chasm now than it's ever been?
So I keep saying the Republicans also represent people like me and you. And so those voters do have common sense, they do feel, and they do understand. So my approach to this is that I will reach out to not leadership. I mean, the Republican leadership is done in terms of really wanting to work. But those downstream who are representing different districts, I think, are committed to their campaign promises. So my first approach is to reach out to them and find common grounds. What do we need to do with regards to COVID and make sure our people are safe? What can we do together to make sure that people drinking water is safe to drink, like there's no PFAS in it? So I think I can bring some common ground that way. In the event that that is not happening, look, my intention is really to go to rural Wisconsin and talk to them. I think the problem here is often we stay in the big cities like Green Bay, Milwaukee, and Madison and do politics here. And so the rural areas' interest is not with the Republican Party, but they have not been speaking to Democrats either. So my intention is first to reach out to Republicans and find a way to really find common ground and move our common agenda. In the event I see that is not working, I'm not going to waste my time like Obama did with the Republican when he was president. I mean, I will go to the rural areas and try to talk to them. And I've spoken already to some of our newcomers, those who are elected to the assembly newly, and we intend to do this in a way that has never been done. So I'll reach out to Republicans and have good conversation with them around some of these issues that are really, if you look on at the tip up north Wisconsin, you have the highest rate of cancer around that area because of the water that they drink. So tell me their representative is not interested in fixing that problem. If he's not, if he's just playing lip services, then the constituents there, the people who voted that Republican in, or those three Republicans, should hold them accountable. And so that is what I will do. I'll go to their constituents, their districts, and talk to them and tell them this is exactly what is happening. There is a Republican and a Democratic Party, but there is no Republican America and Democratic America. It's just one United States of America, and we all have the same issues, in my opinion.
See, I agree with, and that's an incredibly interesting tactic, right? It seems almost novel in this political climate that reaching out to the constituency of the other side would be. It seems novel, but in truth, it is absolutely what more assembly people, more elected officials need to do. Because if you live in an echo chamber,
if you are inside that bubble,
all you're gonna do is hear the same thing that you're just spouting out, and that's just not. And I know better than most that rural areas and urban areas in Wisconsin have a lot more in common than we have, and as far as differences. I remember having a conversation with you in regards to cannabis.
Yes.
Now I'm going to talk about this a little bit. I'm going to talk about this after the break here. But
I'll just ask, what is in that pipe?
This is nicotine, good sir.
Oh, okay, very good.
but in this one, I've got Delta 8 THC. Now, let me tell you what Delta 8 is, right? Because this is it's not new. It actually is naturally occurring in the cannabis plant, in the hemp plants, right?
Okay, very good.
So this is entirely legal. Now,
very good.
I'll tell you like this: Delta 9 will treat you fine, but Delta 8 will get you straight. The fact is, this is an entirely legal kind of. You feel stony, but you're not stoned. It's a really great product. I'm selling these on my website.
Okay, very good.
At herbalaspect.com. Listen, I am not going to shy away from shameless self-promotion.
Absolutely. It's in order.
If Black Lives Matter, Black livelihood matters.
Absolutely. On point.
Now, Assemblymen Elect Baldah, I certainly do appreciate you swinging through the neighborhood. Do you have any closing thoughts? I got about 30 seconds for the people.
No. So for the people who are out there, particularly in the state of Wisconsin, all I have to say is, look, hold us accountable. We are elected to represent you. Do not side, just don't elect us and go to bed. It is important that we do your work, and therefore make sure that we are held account to the promise that we made when we are asking for your vote. I'll be out there as soon as COVID can allow, and really speak to everybody who is out there, particularly in rural Wisconsin. So we will make things happen this time around. So we'll see what happens, but please hold us accountable. And I would say, Alan, it was good hanging out with you. I'll stop by someday if you extend an invite.
Oh man, I'm gonna certainly have you back. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, you've been listening to Mr. Robinson's Neighborhood. Just had Assemblymen Elect Baldah come through. We're gonna talk about weed when we get back, so keep it locked.
Dave from Community PC here. Now more than ever, we're relying on our computers to stay connected with family and friends. Looking for that perfect holiday gift for a family member who struggles with keeping everything up to date? Every day, more and more people are discovering the peace of mind that comes from a Tech Protect plan from Community PC. And it makes the perfect gift for anyone you need to stay connected with. Check out commpc.com to learn.
Hey, Samba, thank you so much for coming on the show. Alan is saying thank you as well.
Yeah, thank you so much. Say bye to Alan. I will visit his website and see what is up there.
24/7.
Yes, yes.
All right, you guys have a very good evening.
You too, sir. Thank you. Hope to see
All right,
hear you
thank
again.
All right, bye-bye.
Hi, this is Dom from the Devil's Advocates inviting you to join us on Patreon.com. Patreon allows for our audience to access exclusive programming not available anywhere else and gives you the ability to directly support the greatest radio show ever. History's patrons have supported the works of Michelangelo, Leonardo da Vinci, Monet, and now with your support, the Devil's Advocates. So please go to Patreon.com and search the Devil's Advocates to pick your subscription. That's Patreon.com and the Devil's Advocates, the greatest radio show ever.
My life's mission was to defeat Donald Trump and turn Wisconsin blue. Mission accomplished, but the battle has only just begun. Devil Radio and WTTN 1580 AM have continued broadcasting the truth, persevering through the pandemic, supporting public health professionals, and turning out the vote in Madison and Dane County in record numbers. Can you help us survive and thrive for the battles to come? Please consider giving a contribution at GoFundMe. Keep Resistance Radio in Wisconsin. Every dollar helps us continue and makes us stronger.
Madison, you say what? Each weeknight from 5 to 6, don't miss out on a single day of the Earl Ingram Show right here on Devil Radio 92.7 FM, 1580 AM.
Friends don't let friends spread fake news. Make sure to follow Devil Radio on Facebook and Twitter and stay up to date with the most important stories of the day.
Hey, I love that track right there.
It's a good track.
Yo, you can't hide. You can't run. I'm gonna let you know what it is. You can't run or hide from justice.
You can't run or hide from your mom either, man.
Oh man, I love my mama. I'm gonna tell you what happened. Right? My mama called. We was on break. My mama called, right? And I knew that she was gonna talk to me crazy about Firstly, right? I knew that was coming, and she absolutely did. She called and she was like, "I'm still gonna make dress, and I'm still gonna have you help, and I'm still gonna have you put the thing on the top of the tree, because so I'm not gonna get disowned for broken vocabulary, but I sure had to get mama up off the phone because we're gonna talk about weed. Yeah. So as it goes today, this is history making for real. For the first time, members of the United States House of Representatives voted to end federal marijuana criminalization. Today's historic vote marks the first time in 50 years that a chamber of Congress has revisited the issue of prohibition.
This is huge. And it's wonderful, and I'm excited about it, Alan.
Yeah, man. Okay, so okay. Let me tamper your excitement just a little bit.
I know where you're going.
Right? Because Money Mitch said that he was strong as mule piss. That's what he said. That's what he told Donald Trump. He said, I hope you're strong. I'm strong as mule piss. Now, the gentleman isn't letting anything that looks like this through the Senate. This won't. And as far as Donald Trump goes, he's trying to get the black votes just not counted. So he's not trying to do anything like the Marijuana Opportunities Expungement and Reinvestment Act. He's not. No. Opportunities, marijuana, opportunity, reinvestment, expungement, something like that. MORE. That's what the MORE Act is and does. Now, the homeboy Justin Streckel, he's the political director for Normal, said This is a historic day for marijuana policy in the United States. This vote marks the first time in 50 years that a chamber of Congress has revisited the issue of classification of cannabis as federally prohibited substance and sought to close the rapidly widening chasm between state and federal marijuana policies. He went on to say that by establishing this new trajectory for federal policy, we expect that more states will revisit and amend the archaic criminalization of cannabis, establish regulated consumer markets, and direct law enforcement to cease the practice of arresting over 500,000 Americans annually for marijuana-related violations. Arrests which disproportionately fall upon those people of color and those on the lower end of the economic spectrum. Now, that's real, right? The fact is, white people and black people use cannabis at roughly the exact same rates, but black people are 6 times more likely here in Madison to be arrested for a cannabis-related crime. 6 times more likely. I don't know whether or not that gives you a little bit more insight into the jail statistics, but it should.
You got to think, if marijuana was legal on a national level, the jail population would probably decrease by at least 30 to 40%. I'm pulling a number out of my butt right away, because it just would.
So the Uniform Crime Report for this year, in 2018 to 2019, not 19 to 20, the numbers went down just a little bit. But from 2018 to 2019, 663,000 people were arrested for a cannabis-related offense.
Ridiculous.
That number is 30% higher than the number of people that were arrested over the same period of time for a violent crime. Okay? 30% higher than, somebody busted somebody's head and stole something from them, blah, 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 right? Just a cannabis-related offense. Just the cannabis. So we're looking at what is it? It's 3.75 times more likely to be arrested for one of those offenses, according to the ACLU nationwide. It's either 3 or 4 times. 4 times, I'm sorry, 4.75 times more likely to be arrested if you're black nationwide. So one of the things that the MORE Act does is it penalizes states that continue to enact cannabis prohibition and enforce it in a desperate way. It penalizes those states by withholding federal dollars, right? If it's one thing that I know about state level politicians, first, they don't want to take federal money. Not the Republicans. They don't want to take it. No, we're not going to expand Medicaid, and we don't want your stupid money. that's the Republicans for you, right? But once they got it, once it's coming in, right?
Take it away.
Lord Jesus, we've budgeted for that. Please don't take it. And so if this is what I'm looking at. I'm looking at those 2 senators down in Georgia, and I want to see if those 2 people are Democrat or Republican, because if we have a Democrat majority in the House and in the Senate, and we've got Kamala Harris, who's a co-sponsor on this bill. We got Mark from the SAC on. Let's see if we can get Mark on real quick.
He's right here. Hey, Mark.
Hey, Mark, you got any thoughts
brother.
on this?
Well, I think it's a great idea to they should be legalizing cannabis for one thing. And as to your previous point on Santa Claus, what color he was, I think that the first St. Nicholas, who was a real person, wouldn't be considered white by contemporaries, by our standards of today. And and of course, neither would Jesus. Jesus was a brown-skinned, Middle Eastern Jew. So let's, put that in context as well.
Well, I got to tell you, hey, you're absolutely right. He probably wouldn't have been considered Caucasian. Mark from Sac, sir, thanks for the call. Listen, I got to tell you, my Santa Claus was black. That's just because my Santa Claus was my mama, my daddy,
Who you just hung up on.
I ain't hang up. I unceremoniously got off of the phone, which is similar to what I'm finna do here. Yeah. Pay attention to what's going down in Georgia, ladies and gentlemen, because that'll answer your cannabis question faster than anything else. Until then, Delta 9 will treat you fine. Delta 8 got me straight. Hey, this has been Mr. Robinson's Neighborhood. You're listening to Devil Radio 92.7 FM. Keep it locked. We'll be back on Monday.
Stream the Devils and progressive news and talk 24/7 at the Devil's Advocates Radio Network, Wisconsin. That's DARNWI.com. That's DARNWI.com.
I'm Alan Robinson, host of Mr. Robinson's Neighborhood. I am from this city, and I am in these streets, speaking truth to power Monday through Friday about your issues. Join me